Everyone thinks owning a logistics company is a guaranteed path to wealth. Trucks on the highway, warehouses full of goods, packages moving nonstop. It looks like money is constantly flowing. But here's the reality most people never see. You can move more products than ever before and still lose money. Because in logistics, volume doesn't equal profit. And if you don't understand how this business actually works beneath the surface, it can quietly destroy your finances while everything looks successful on the outside. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because on this channel, we break down how real businesses actually make money and where they secretly lose it. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. What you're really selling. At first glance, it seems like a logistics company is about trucks, drivers, and warehouses. But that's not the real product. The real product is reliability. It's the ability to move something from point A to point B exactly when promised, without damage, delay, or confusion. That's what customers are paying for. Not the truck, not the warehouse, the certainty. And this leads to the first big decision. What kind of logistics business are you building? Because delivering packages within one city is a completely different game from moving goods across an entire country. And that's still different from coordinating international shipments. Each level adds complexity, more rules, more risks, more capital. So let's start simple. Chapter 2. The simple start that isn't simple. Imagine you buy one truck. You find a customer. You start transporting goods. Sounds straightforward, right? But that first truck is just the beginning. Now you're dealing with insurance, permits, fuel costs, maintenance, driver wages, tracking systems, and most importantly, cash flow. Because even after completing a job, you might wait weeks before getting paid. Meanwhile, your expenses don't wait. They show up immediately. So even at a small scale, the business is already under pressure. And once that truck hits the road, every kilometer starts costing you money. Chapter 3. Why more work can mean less profit. Here's where things get dangerous. In logistics, every trip generates revenue, but it also generates cost, fuel, labor, wear and tear. So if your expenses rise faster than your pricing, working more can actually make you poorer. Think about that. Growth, but in the wrong direction. Your profit is simply the gap between what you charge and what it costs to deliver. And in this industry, that gap is often very thin. So even a small increase in fuel prices or a slight drop in customer rates can wipe out your margin completely. And the worst part? You don't fully control pricing. Chapter 4. The market decides your profits. Logistics pricing is heavily influenced by supply and demand. When there are more shipments than available trucks, prices go up. But when there are too many trucks chasing fewer loads, prices drop fast. This means your profit can shrink before your truck even leaves the parking lot. That's why many companies chase long-term contracts. Stable agreements with predictable pricing. Sounds safer, right? It is, but it introduces a new risk. Chapter 5. The trap of commitment. When you sign a contract, you're making a promise. You're committing to deliver, no matter what. That means, if demand spikes, you must keep up. If something breaks, you must fix it fast. If costs rise, you absorb it. And as your business grows, so does your exposure. One truck breaking down is manageable. 50 trucks? That's 50 opportunities for something to go wrong. Scale creates efficiency, but it also multiplies risk. And then comes one of the most expensive problems in logistics: empty movement. Chapter 6. The cost of nothing. A truck without cargo is still expensive. It's still burning fuel, still paying a driver, still adding wear and tear, but generating zero revenue. These are called empty runs, and they can quietly destroy profitability. The goal isn't just moving goods. It's making sure your vehicles are always carrying something valuable. And once you manage multiple trucks, this becomes a massive coordination problem. Which vehicle takes which route? Where do you send it next? How do you avoid wasted movement? This is where logistics turns into a puzzle, and technology becomes essential. Chapter 7. Time is a hidden asset. Even with perfect routing, there's another silent killer: waiting. When a truck sits at a loading dock, nothing is moving, but costs continue. Drivers are still being paid. Schedules get delayed. Future deliveries are affected. In logistics, time is not just money. It's capacity. And once time is wasted, you can't recover it. You can't store it. It's gone. Forever. Chapter 8. expanding the business model. To increase revenue, many companies expand beyond transportation. They start offering storage, packaging, inventory management. Now, instead of earning from one step, they earn from multiple parts of the supply chain. Sounds smart, but now you're running a warehouse, and warehouses come with their own challenges. Chapter 9. When space becomes expensive. A warehouse isn't just a building. It's a system, and every square meter costs money, whether it's used or not. So empty space becomes wasted money. But overfilled space creates chaos. And once you're handling thousands of orders, accuracy becomes critical. One mistake can trigger returns, refunds, reshipping, customer complaints, and sometimes lost trust, which is the most expensive loss of all. Chapter 10. Risk you can't ignore. The goods you're moving could be extremely valuable. If something goes wrong, the financial damage can be huge. Loss, damage, theft, delays. This is why insurance isn't optional. It's survival, because one major incident can erase months or years of profit. Chapter 11. The pressure of fixed costs. Here's another reality. Many costs don't care if business is slow. Truck payments still come. Rent is still due. Software subscriptions don't pause. Salaries continue. So even when revenue drops, expenses don't, which creates constant pressure to keep everything running. Because idle assets still cost money. Chapter 12. Growth can break you. Ironically, success can create new problems. Landing a big customer feels like a win, but serving them may require more trucks, more staff, more infrastructure before you even receive the revenue. So you spend first and earn later. And if something goes wrong in between, you're exposed. Chapter 13. The cash flow trap. This is where many companies fail, not because they aren't profitable, but because cash arrives too late. You deliver today, but get paid weeks later. Meanwhile, expenses must be paid now. So even a profitable business can run out of money. Chapter 14. Dependency risk. Relying too heavily on one customer is another hidden danger. One large contract can fuel rapid growth. But if that customer leaves, you're left with unused trucks, empty space, idle workers, and no revenue to support them. Diversification isn't optional. It's protection. Chapter 15. The commodity problem. In many cases, logistics becomes a price war. If multiple companies can do the same job, customers choose the cheapest option. And when that happens, margins shrink, competition increases, and survival becomes harder. So how do you escape this? You differentiate. Chapter 16. Building an advantage. The strongest companies don't compete only on price. They offer something harder to replace. Specialized equipment, faster delivery, better technology, higher reliability, deeper integration with customers. The more unique your service, the less you're forced into price wars. Chapter 17. When things go wrong. Logistics networks are interconnected. A problem in one place can affect everything. Weather, traffic, labor shortages, system failures. Delays spread quickly, so resilience becomes critical. But resilience costs money. Backup systems, extra capacity, redundancy. You're essentially paying for problems that might happen. Chapter 18. The human factor. At the center of everything are people, drivers, warehouse workers, dispatchers, managers. Without them, nothing moves. And when talent is hard to find, even the best equipment becomes useless. Chapter 19. Technology as a force multiplier. Technology doesn't replace logistics. It enhances it. Better routing saves fuel. Better tracking improves reliability. Better data improves decision-making. Small improvements at scale create massive advantages. Chapter 20. Asset-heavy versus asset-light. There are two main approaches. Own everything, or coordinate everything. Owning assets gives control, but requires heavy investment. Using partners reduces capital needs, but sacrifices control. Both models work. They just carry different risks. Chapter 21. The role of brokers. This is where brokers come in. They don't own trucks. They connect supply and demand, matching available capacity with shipments, and earning a margin for solving that problem. Chapter 22. The power of scale. As networks grow, they become more efficient. More customers bring more opportunities. More routes improve utilization. More data improves decisions. But scale only helps if it's managed properly. Chapter 23. the final truth. At the end of the day, revenue doesn't define success. Profit does. And profit in logistics is fragile. It can disappear slowly, without obvious warning. That's why the best companies focus on efficiency, cost control, cash flow, reliability. Because in this business, small mistakes compound quickly. Final thought. So, can a logistics company make you rich? Yes, but only if you understand what you're really building. You're not buying trucks. You're not renting warehouses. You're managing a complex system where every decision matters, where every delay costs money, where every promise must be kept. And in the end, what you're really selling is trust. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next video might completely change how you see business. And in a world full of uncertainty, the companies that win are the ones that deliver certainty.